BSTN.
Hello, I'm Chet Closington, and welcome to SaaS Center, the only show brave enough to report on the burning dumpster fire that is modern democracy. I mean sales. Well, now some of you have noticed that we've made a few changes around here. First things first, BSTN no longer stands for whatever the hell we said it was standing for before. We are now, and I cannot stress this enough, the Breakthrough Sales Tactics Network. Because nothing says breakthrough quite like rebranding and praying nobody asks follow-up questions. We've got new camera angles, new graphics, new energy. Like I prefer my steaks, we've trimmed all the fat. We've tightened the screws. We've done things to our editing software that would make Adobe cry. But you're still getting your favorites. Mini sales miracles, AI, oops. The segments that make you coming back for more and make you feel something in your cold, quota-crushed heart. But we've also got some new heat coming your way too. Pipeline, when something in sales actually works and we're legally obligated to acknowledge it. Gripeline, the opposite, when something makes us want to throw our CRM into that half-boiled ocean. But tonight we start with a segment that has never been more relevant. A segment for the fallen, the released, the impacted. The job market sucks ass. Let's talk about who deserves to get hired. Okay, look, I'm gonna need everyone to take a breath because this week we learned that Autodesk, the company that makes AutoCAD, Maya, approximately 400 other products that architects and animators use to pay their therapists, they just announced, well, recently they're cutting 1,000 jobs. That's 7% of their workforce gone. In a memo from their CEO who assured everyone, and I quote, "This will not become an annual process at Autodesk." Buddy, this is the second round of layoffs in a year. You cut 1,350 people last February, give or take. At what point does it statistically become annual? It's not like they're making a shit ton of money though. Unrelated, Autodesk just reported $1.85 billion in quarterly revenue. That's up 18% year over year. Record numbers, champagne popping numbers. And the thank you, a severance package and a firm handshake from HR. Tonight, we're not highlighting one person, we're highlighting many. Because when a company lays off 1,000 people in customer-facing roles where humans actually talk to other humans, we should say their names. Here they are. Mason Myers, Sijia Chen, Josh Applebaum, Mark Mergenschroer, Sam Bruns, Hugh Chatterjee, Laura Serena, Haley Mills, J. John Peace, Bong Tran. Look, this is 10 of 1,000, but these are real humans with real skills, real families, and real LinkedIn profiles. They're linked. That are way too humble for what they've accomplished, and they're looking for work. Hire these people before your competitor does. Now, speaking of people you should hire before your competitor figures out how to spell revenue operations, let me introduce you to Jason Shipp. This man has done everything. Field sales at WestRock, director of marketing ops at Blue Ridge, senior manager of revenue operations and inside sales at SecureWorks, growth marketing director at Fortrex. It's a bunch of different companies, 4 different locations, one consistent through line. This guy knows how to build pipelines that actually go somewhere. All of those equate together to go to market, by the way. Jason and I went to different high schools together. We're very close. But I'm not a recruiter. I make funny videos and commercials. He saw my Super Bowl commercial from last year, thought it was funny, and wanted to connect with me to one-up me in style because, well, his wife worked on your favorite Dunkin' Donuts commercial of all time. You know which one I'm talking about. It's got Ben Affleck in it. Look, he's a dad. He's down to earth. He's got the RevOps chops to build a go-to-market engine that actually, well, goes to market. If you're hiring in the Atlanta area or anywhere, honestly, it's 2026 and we have Zoom. This is your guy, Jason Shipp. Hire this person. Ship happens. And if you're lucky, he could happen to you. Now, you might be wondering, does this segment actually work? Do people get hired because some guy in a fake newsroom yells their name into the void? Jason! Let's find out. Roll the tape.
I just want to give a big shout out to BSTN and Rob and team over there. Huge help in my job search and just helping me find something new. Just a super fun process. So thank you guys. I appreciate you so much. Super helpful. I'm so grateful. God bless.
Thanks, Rob Jones and BSTN Network. You helped me get a job through LinkedIn.
I'm 3 weeks in and the job is going amazing. I'm super happy with where I landed. Thanks again.
See that? That's what happens when good people get visibility. It's the whole point, and the whole point of this segment on BSTN. All right, enough of the sappiness. It's time for a word from our friends at Super about the state of sales enablement, because if there's one thing we need right now more than ever, it's data to make us feel worse about ourselves. And you can contribute. Check it out. Outstanding. And we'll be right back. Well, it seems like there's a new 51st state, and it's not Greenland. No, it's the Super State of Sales Enablement. And we need you to help us map this out. Look, nobody actually knows what's happening in sales enablement in 2026. Everyone has opinions. There's AI. LinkedIn has gurus. But where is the real data? That question is why we at Super are launching the inaugural State of Sales Enablement report. And we're going straight to the source to get the answers. That's right. Sales leaders, enablement warriors, people in the trenches actually doing the work. What tools are you using? What's working? What isn't? What's a dumpster fire? What's a hidden gem? We're about to find out. The CTA, 10 to 15 minutes of your time, that's all. Just fill out the survey. In exchange for your time, you'll get super swag that's actually comfy, early access to the report and data, a chance to be featured, and a raffle entry to a $500 giveaway. If you have 10 to 15 minutes and care about saving the world of sales and sales enablement, let us know and we'll send you the survey to complete by February 6th. That's the deadline. If you're thirsty for answers like we are, let's make sales enablement make sense. Together. Stay super. Welcome back to SaaS Center. Do you ever scroll through LinkedIn and feel like you're walking through a timeshare presentation that never ends? Every other post is some jacked dude in a Tesla telling you the secret to closing 7 figures is waking up at 4 a.m. and cold plunging your way to quota. Well, we decided to separate the steak from the sizzle, and full disclosure, this analysis wasn't cooked up by Super or BSTN or anybody else. The result, a ranked list of 25 sales thought leaders and influencers. From worst to best, here it is. Started from the bottom, now we're here at the bottom. Anyway, buckle up because the basement of this list is spicy. At 25, Grant Cardone. Look, the man has more lawsuits than most people have LinkedIn connections. Aggressive upsells, brother facing FTC action. My personal favorite, he once told his followers to max out their credit cards for his training and then to just file bankruptcy. The audacity is almost impressive, almost. Number 24, Andy Elliott. This one reads like a Netflix true crime doc waiting to happen. He admitted under oath, not allegedly, not rumored, under oath, to participating in fraud at a car dealership for over a decade. The FBI literally uses his training videos as examples of teaching people how to lie. And he requires all of his employees to have six-pack abs, because apparently that's a sales qualification now. Can't be mad at that. Fitness is important. 23, Jeremy Minor, his whole NEPQ thing. Well, multiple sources indicate it's basically a Xerox copy of Michael Oliver's natural selling methodology, which Oliver has, by the way, been teaching since 1997 and charges $297 for. Minor charges up to $30,000 for the same thing. Playbook has fancier branding, I'll give him that, but that's not innovation, that's plagiarism, which I guess is fair. Well, plagiarism with a font change and a markup. By the way, Michael Oliver is in our top 5. Now, we're not going to walk you through all 25. You need a bathroom break and a snack, but the middle of the pack is full of legitimate people doing good work. Morgan Ingram, Dale Dupree, Scott Leese, Chris Orlov. Solid practitioners, no major red flags, just varying degrees of helpful, who they serve, and their approach. But the top 5, here we go. At number 5, Nick Sigelski and Armand Farrak, that's a twofer, but 30 Minutes to President's Club, 30 MPC, is the #1 sales podcast globally. Their whole brand is no fluff, pure tactics. It's like if a sales methodology and a shot of espresso had a baby. Number 4, Chris Voss. If you're in sales, you've heard this name. He spent 24 years as an FBI hostage negotiator. His tactical empathy framework wasn't developed in a WeWork. It was tested when actual lives were on the line. Hard to argue with that kind of pedigree. Jen Allen Knuth at number 3, 20 years closing enterprise deals, not training people, closing. focus on defeating the status quo addresses why over half of your qualified pipeline ends in the soul-crushing wasteland of no decision. Cost of inaction is important. At number 2, Michael Oliver. Remember how we said Jeremy Miner's NEPQ looked like a photocopy? Oliver is the original document. He's been teaching natural selling since '97. That's before most SDRs were born. His course, $300, Miners, 30 grand. The cover band's got famous, but it's criminal underexposure for someone who literally wrote the playbook. At number 1, Josh Braun. Ethical, accessible pricing. His commission breath concept, the idea that prospects can smell when you're desperate, perfectly captures why modern buyers ghost pushy sellers. No scandals, no lawsuits, no accusations of plagiarism. Just a guy who spent decades helping people sell without feeling like they need a shower afterward. I will say lately he's been falling victim to some satirical posts on LinkedIn, but that's not for this segment. Now, across all the top performers, a few patterns kept emerging, and these are free, by the way. 1, discovery eats pitching for breakfast. 53% of B2B buying decisions are driven by the sales experience, not the product itself. Stop demoing, start diagnosing. 2, detach from the outcome. The best sellers let prospects convince themselves. Desperation is not a closing technique. 3, your biggest competitor isn't the other vendor. It's do nothing, which is actually a lot harder than defeating competitors. That's called the cost of inaction. All right, before we go, I want to tell you about something else new that we're doing. Oh, camera angle. Got it. You know what drives me crazy about sales content? Everyone talks about what top performers do, the tactics, the frameworks, the playbooks you got to comment to get a download on. The one weird trick, and nobody asks why. Why does someone grind through 100 rejections a week? Why do they stay late when the pipeline's empty? Why do they keep showing up when the quota is crushing their soul? So we created a new show, a new pod. It's called Numbers Known. The concept is pretty simple. We sit down with actual top performers, not influencers, gurus, closers, no one in particular, top performers, and we ask them to give us 3 numbers that explain their why. Maybe it's the number of calls they made before their first deal. Maybe it's the commission check that changed everything in their life. Maybe it's 3, as in 3 kids they're providing for. Numbers tell stories, and we're here to listen to the heroes of those stories.
BSTN.